What's going on, guys? So it's the next day. Everything's painted, dried, ready to go. Actually on a field trip right now, so I'm gonna go pick up that rear end. And I found somebody else on a Facebook site that's got a set of racing bucket seats, which aren't really my favorite, but they're a couple $100. They look like they're brand new. Apparently they have tracks on them, so we'll see how that goes. At least I can get those bolted in and do something. Seats here now, like I said, a low back buckets out of like a Chevy or something, they're like $600 and they're beat and they need to be redone. So I can't justify $1,000 worth of bucket seats in like a $5,000 car. So let's get on the road. We'll see what this thing looks like. All right, out in the real nice part of town, but found a couple of these seats. Worked out pretty good, couple $100. They're not perfect, but they're good enough for me. All right, guys, so I made it back. Garage is still a mess because I'm lazy. But I got the rear end. Check this out. So everyone was giving me a hard time about these Chevy rear ends being kind of weak. Well, I just painted a bomb on it, so I know it's going to blow up. I figure if you just accept it, really, what's the worst that can happen? So I was talking to the guy who said, you know, recommend a clear coat on it, but I think I'm going to leave it as is so it gets kind of beat up and stuff like that and suits the car. It's too shiny right now. But yeah, I'm going to hoist this thing in there and yeah, bolt it all together. So it should go pretty quick. Alright, so I got the rear end slid in there. So now all I gotta do is just put some U-bolts on it and little pads underneath just so it all kind of holds it all together. And I'll start tightening it all up, so pretty quick. Alright, so here's the deal. Everything's kind of just loose in there. I put both shocks on. The mount worked out great, so that's pretty slick. On the creeper I have a new gasket, some silicone, some brand new hardware, and this little paint lid there. So I'm going to test fit that gasket, make sure it's right, should be, and then I'll silicone that to the rear end and smear a little bit more on there, and then hopefully I can hoist in the center section and bolt it all together, and then I can let that dry up real good before I'm going to put any oil in it. So I'll get to that real quick. Alright, so basically got everything done. Center section's in. Let that you know, set up for a few hours and all that. I'm not going to touch it or anything like that. You know, shocks are loose, all the leaves are loose, everything's all like that, so I got to make sure to go through, tighten everything, so I'm going to do it all at once. All my backing plate and all that stuff is there. I haven't even touched that yet, so I'll probably wire wheel the backing plates, take the wheel cylinders out, and then I can start bolting those on, and I put the axles in and all that stuff. But yeah, so that's probably what we'll start working on next. A lot of cleaning and painting. Alright, so now I'm done kind of under the car. Pull the backing plates there, pulled the old wheel cylinders out, ordered some new ones. So I gotta, get those all cleaned up, get all the goo off them and stuff like that, wire wheel them, and paint them black. Start assembling some stuff. Alright, I'm back. So I actually took these into work and cleaned them in the parts washer real quick, so it was much easier. And then I just kind of cleaned up the mating surfaces and all that. The back side's, minty. So I'm going to hang these up, paint them black. I mean, let's be honest, they're going to be under the car and no one's ever going to see them, but I like putting rusty parts back. What's going on, guys? So I've just been kind of working away there. The seats in the car just kind of, they're sitting there, they're not actually doing anything. The camera actually died, like usual, while I was working. So I did this side, I put the backing plate on, slammed in the axle, and just put the wheel cylinder in there. So, pretty simple, but I figured on the other side I'll maybe do a little more in depth and kind of show you how I did it on these things, because you got to whack them in so the bearing goes in and all that. But yeah, I got the other one painted and also all ready to go. So we'll get on the other side and we'll get it together. Alright, so I figured I'd show you how this works. So on this style rear end, there's a bearing which is pressed on. I actually didn't change the bearings. They both seem like they were in decent shape, and it wasn't leaking when I originally got it, so I'm going to risk it and we'll see what happens. Because these are a pain, you got to press them on and off. Anyways, you can see there's a little O-ring right in there, and I'll show up there. Anyway, so that ends up sitting right in here, and that's what prevents the oil from leaking out and stuff. So what I like doing these, I clean this up real good. I cleaned up the tube real good there. I just put a little coat of silicone in there, and then all you gotta do is you basically fit the axle in. I got a brand new seal that goes on right there. Fit it in. It slides in the rear end real easy on these splines, super easy. The problem is getting the bearing in flush. You got to kind of jiggle it and whack it a little bit, and then these 4 studs fit through these 4 holes. And then I just got some new hardware. It's just fine thread 3/8 stuff. So I'll get it in there and get those lined up, suck it in, and then just tighten up from the back side. So I'll see if I can get this fit in and bring you guys back. Alright, so it's all together there on the back side. See all the brand new hardware. So just as you're, as I push it in or whacking it with the hammer, you just kind of make sure you spin it back for us so the bearing's going in good and it's going in nice and straight. And there's no issues there. Tighten everything up, and that's that. The next thing I'm going to do is these wheel cylinders. So they're pretty simple, just 2 bolts. I actually took them apart yesterday and I painted them so they look nice there. But let's see if I can do this one-handed. Very, very simple. There's just two bolts that hold it in, so you put it in from the front side. On this one, that's where the brake line goes in, that's the bleeder, and these are the 2 mounting splines there. So ultimately it just kind of goes in right up in there. So it fits in just like that. And a couple bolts, and it's held in. That's pretty much it. So pretty simple little setup. So I'll get that bolted in and show you how it turned out. Alright, so it's all together. See on the back side there, hopefully just a couple of bolts hold it in. Pretty simple. So obviously I don't have any line running to it. I ordered some line from Amazon there, 3/16 so I can plumb in the rear end here. Same with the front, and then I got some 1/4 inch so I can go from the proportioning valve back. So I gotta do that. These bolts here, I ended up getting you know, nylock nuts for them, and unfortunately they're just a little bit too short, so I need some 1/2 inch longer bolts, because I want to make sure those aren't ever coming out once they're torqued down. So I got that to do. I gotta go to the hardware store, and then I also have the fuel tank, so I might just start putting that up. So I got brand new tank, sender, straps, the whole 9, so I can put that up, and then yeah, I got a place for the fuel lines. When I ordered the brake line, I also ordered a roll of 3/8 fuel line, so I got to plumb the whole car next. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, it could be a roller again now, which is nice. Everything's back together, and yeah, once I get the weight on it, I want to make sure I kind of lift it up. Then I can tighten everything up so it's all under load and all that. But yeah, I think that's where I'm gonna leave it for tonight. I'm gonna be back at tomorrow. I'm gonna get that fuel tank in.